We're now joined by Dr. Ranjit Nair, who is Assistant Professor of Management at Caldwell University. Good to see you, Doctor.
Good to see you too, Steve. Thanks for having me.
It's great. Listen, I'm a student of leadership. I write about it, talk about it, make mistakes as a leader every day. It's a question I've been asking forever. You're a professor of management. You wrote this wonderful book called Potluck Culture. Is there a difference between leadership and management? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, lots of differences, but there's a lot of similarities too. But leadership is about, having a set of followers, right? Management is about getting the organization, the people around it, to execute against a set of goals. Leadership is really about motivating. It's about, role modeling. It's about having the character to lead, having the character to enable others to act.
But I'm curious, in these difficult times, as we tape this program going into 2022, the new workplace combination, it's a hybrid, who's in person, who's remote. We have great producers on our team all over New Jersey and in other states right now. My job as the leader, and when I say me, I'm talking about anybody who leads or manages an organization. Is it harder, and in what ways is it harder and or different to lead/manage in this new workplace?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. And COVID-19, 2020, 2021, we're still kind of in it, is really a watershed event for humankind, especially in the workplace. So new leadership skills, emerging leadership skills are sought after big time. There was a study recently done by McKinsey and some of these big consulting firms, and they came out with this, what are the top 2 things that are keeping CEOs awake at night post-pandemic? And the biggest one, and it kind of surprised me, is that they don't feel that their own employees yet and the employees that they're looking to hire have the requisite skills in the post-pandemic era. And when asked what are these skills, number 1 on the list was resiliency. And we know what resiliency is, just the ability to stand up and stay firm and keep going in the face of adversity. And so we've never seen adversity like we saw with the pandemic. So resiliency and being resilient, being adaptable, being flexible, staying true to the narrative, your story, and sticking behind your story and sticking to your mission, that's going to be really sought after going forward.
Let me play devil's advocate a little bit here. And by the way, the book is called Potluck Culture. And by the way, I'll do devil's advocate in a second. The primary theme of the book is?
It's about engaging the workplace, having gratitude, respect in the workplace. We spend so much of our time at work, right? So why don't we make that experience an amazing experience as opposed to clocking in and clocking out? Well, when you're there, be the human being that you are at work and demonstrate everything you can do to be the best version of you can be at work.
So important now more than ever. Let me do this devil's advocate thing. So a lot of us in leadership, those of us in leadership positions, we want to stay connected to our people. We want to understand what they're experiencing, how to be supportive of them, how to be helpful, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're physically not in the same location, are there any tips and tools you have for those watching right now who run any organization, who are leaders in any department, division, unit, whatever? How do we stay connected and engaged if we're not physically in the same office space?
Yeah, and that's a reality now, right? We're going to move to at least a hybrid environment, or certainly working remotely. And I think to stay connected, to answer your question, is to stay human, right? I don't know if you can see my background behind me. I think there's a picture of John Lennon.
I see it. See John Lennon up top, right?
Right. I'm a guitarist. I'm trying to make a human connection with you, and we don't want to lose that when we are going remote, having sort of fake backgrounds and so on. So there's a character to who I am. There's a humanity to who I am, and certainly for you as well. So that's one way to stay human, to stay connected while we're trying to be remote. One of the good things that came out of the pandemic is that we learned that pretty much everyone can work effectively from home. There's some nuances here and there, but we found that indeed, when faced with the unexpected outcomes of the pandemic, we were pretty resilient. We were able to work from home remotely, and that's going to be a mainstay going forward. But what we don't want to lose is we don't want to lose that human touch. We don't want to lose that humanity, the personality. And I think the more important thing there, Steve, is we have to be, we often use the word empathy,
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking of empathy, and Dr. Daniel Goleman, emotional intelligence, a big part of emotional intelligence, I won't get on my soapbox, is this ability to empathize with others. Is it harder to empathize if you're physically not together, or if we're committed, I don't want to answer my own question, if we're committed to being empathetic and caring about others, it doesn't matter where you are. You tell me.
Yeah, we get Googled, right? I mean, I Googled you, and I'm sure you Googled me. Well, that Googling can be part of empathy, right? Putting yourself in the shoes of that person, learning about that person before you have that remote connection with them or that remote work experience. There's a lot that we can do to do our homework to beef up our empathetic orientation. And of course, while we're in the moment or in the video with that person while at work, there's a lot of things we can do to feel what our coworkers feeling, asking them how their day is going, what's bothering them, and how they can be of help. So empathy can go a long way, very broad and very deep.
Real quick, by the way, Caldwell University, a higher ed partner of ours, I've taught there for many years in a doctoral program for educational administrators who we did it remotely last year. I'm hoping we can do it in person this year. Before I let you go, do you differentiate between empathy and showing, quote, gratitude for your team members?
I think they both come hand in hand. Empathy is as they say in that famous book, Atticus Finch. He said to really
Kill a Mockingbird.
Exactly. It's a legend of a book, and he said something like, to demonstrate true empathy, you got to crawl into the skin of that person. There's so much we can do to get into who that individual is, what they're going through, and most importantly, living their experience. But gratitude goes hand in hand with that. As I mentioned before, we spend so much of our time in economic or business environments or college or studying, less fun, more work. Well, in that regard, it's always good to turn to someone and say, really appreciate what you've done, and thank you for being here. And I want to recognize you for what you've gone through, what you've accomplished. The more we do that, the better it is for the workplace.
As I let Dr. Nair go, it's so interesting how he said that, thanking people, showing gratitude, appreciation. There's some people in my other life that I've coached over the years as leaders and managers who say, what do you mean? I'm going to thank someone for doing their job? And I'm thinking, you can never really say thank you enough. And people don't get tired of hearing it. So don't take it from me, take it from Dr. Nair. Hey, Doctor, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you on campus.
Thank you. And I'm teaching that leadership program tomorrow. So the same one you taught. Thank you,
Get them ready. Thank you, Doctor. That's Dr. Nair from Caldwell University, and we're right back right after this.
Right now, families all across New Jersey are struggling with hunger, and their financial futures remain uncertain. This holiday season, you can be the hope for our hungry neighbors in need in a time when that need is still so great. The Community Food Bank of New Jersey, the state's largest anti-hunger, anti-poverty organization, is filling the emptiness caused by hunger with food, help, and hope. Go to cfbnj.org now to join us.
Also brought to you by Delta Dental of New Jersey. Everyone deserves a healthy smile. Investors Bank. The Northward Center. NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Johnson & Johnson. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Atlantic Health System. Building healthier communities. PSC&G. Committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future. And by Community Food Bank of New Jersey.